And with our little indoor picnic because it is ungodly hot outside, and about 5 I'm going to we're gonna end up having a very quick dinner, probably just gonna order pizza because about 5 we're gonna go out and see if there are any washers free in the laundry room, the laundromat back there. We have half size washer and dryer, which is great for most things, but we also have like a massively fluffy blanket that does not fit in there, and if we try, we probably burn the outside of it trying to dry it all the way through. The dryer is actually smaller than the washer, so but we actually got them both for a good price a while back, so that's good. It fits most of our needs, and what it doesn't, we can go get, done. And then my grandfather recently, I guess he was cleaning out his stuff, and he found some comforters and whatnot that weren't being used and that he was basically never going to use. So he brought those over. So I'm going to wash those there too. Just a big thing, because some of these I think we could wash in ours, but it would be a load each. And that's a lot of electricity. So, because it's a lot of big fluffy blankets. Let me put it to you that way. And I'm just gonna wash them, and then I'm gonna do a remake of old beds. Chris wants to put a green sheet on his bed this time, so we're gonna go with that. Not really a surprise. He loves green. That's pretty much just the plan. Tested out that cheap 99 cent store version of the magic eraser, I think it's called. Yeah, the magic eraser. And that wasn't bad. It wasn't as good. There was, I guess, a tiny piece of lump of cheese somewhere. I don't see very well, so I didn't, I guess, catch it last night. So whenever I was wiping down things today, it wore it down really fast. So avoid anything like that. But with smaller stuff, it's pretty good. Anything that like you would normally have to put in a lot of effort on, it's just swipe. So it is good. It's a decent product as far as that goes. It's just not the same, I want to say. So I mean, it's good. It shortens my time wiping down like the area that stuff splashes behind the stove. That's really what mostly matters. Um, Cleaning the sinks and stuff was faster too. I do this on a pretty regular basis, but it normally like takes a bit because like any sort of splash or whatever, it just, the washcloth doesn't do it. So I'm constantly just spraying more soap on it, and it takes a little bit because we have crappy cheap soap. So it's, for some things soap is soap, but then for others it's not. Plus we also have to call the landlord because our faucet is so old it has sprung a leak. Oh, also I need to clear out the meat freezer and do the yearly defrost. Yep. But I can do that after dinner. Whenever Munchkin is settling down for bed, would probably be easier. Although he probably would want to help. I'll leave that up to him because he is behaving today. So if he wants to help, he can. Although right now it sounds like he is having a lot of fun with those Legos. Likely the video won't pick it up, but I can hear him. It's not very loud, but I can hear him. He's doing his best to use indoor voices, but every once in a while you can hear, yeah, you know. So, I know he's having fun. This is a legitimate distraction for him, so that I can do this real quick. But yeah, they followed me onto my channel with this shit, and I'm just like, I know where this goes, and I have no desire to deal with it. So I'm going to erase the comment of the person who brought that here. And I reported the comment that continued to pursue the need of calling, like, you're weird. And, well, they created a whole new comment just so that they could express that I was supposed to be insulted by this. And I'm just like, if you need to do that, you need to stop. I'm just not messing with it. Because of where this has come from, normally I would create some sort of rational argument for how stupid they're being, but on this issue, without actually calling them stupid for doing this or expressing that it is entirely stupid, letting the facts do so for me. Nobody likes to argue with me because I argue with logic. But yeah. So I must really touch a nerve. But to be honest, it kind of pissed me off that she couldn't just like it for being what it was. Had to be like, oh my god! It has to do with my religion, and that makes it, why? Why? Why does this have to overshadow the fantastic editing that went into that? Anyway, I could say a lot of things, but then I'm giving too much attention to this. So, anyway, I just don't want to deal with it. And, yeah. Pretty much, I just don't want to deal with it. If someone had something intelligent to say and wanted to start a dialogue with me, sure. But very few people on YouTube are going to randomly search you out for that. And actually, it just kind of happens whenever it does. I'm actually often that person. I'm just like, I want to say something intelligent, and I want you to say something intelligent back to me. Or, just, I don't mind having an intelligent conversation even if it makes me uncomfortable to discuss it. But also, if you're not comfortable with it, just say that. It's really not hard. But what did happen was it was normally a situation I wouldn't have said anything. And I'm not going to make excuses for it. I can explain why, but that doesn't really excuse it. I still did it. I guess that's the difference between me and them. I'm not like, oh, I can do anything that I want because my deity will forgive me. No. Just no. And it actually, if you've studied it, isn't supposed to work that way for Christians either. Because repentance isn't just an apology. A repentance is an entire, ritualistic repentance. You have to actually feel that shit. You have to be prepared to make up for it. I've literally never seen this happen anywhere but on that old show about that guy, I guess, who won the lottery, got hit by a car, whatever, and decided to make up all the wrongs that he'd done. This is literally the only time I've actually seen someone like who said I'm Christian as actually repenting for somebody. It's like they don't even understand what it is. So even like by the Bible standards, it's like they don't even understand what it is. And their pastors aren't teaching them what it is. They're just telling him that if you do stuff, you can be forgiven, and this is awesome. But like, it's still got like requirements. You're supposed to genuinely be sorry, and you're supposed to be able to show that with actions, like trying to fix what you did. You know, you're supposed to own it. Among other things, like, the thing of it is with this, I'm not actually sorry. I might be if this person had handled it better, but that would be feelings as far as like feeling bad about it goes, and I really don't. Like, I recognize that I would, but I don't, because I'm really just too mad at them right now to feel sorry for being rude. And it wasn't even like extreme rudeness, it was like that weird rudeness that is only rude with select groups of people. So it's not like I called them names or anything. It was just yeah. I pointed out things, and it's rude, but then it's not at the same time, depending on what group of people you're with. So yeah. Then, like, following them was another person who is just hellbent on me thinking that I am weird, and not in a good way. Wow. If the most imaginative thing that you can say is you're weird, I'm sorry, but I can't say anything because I have nothing nice to say about your level of intelligence. That's not how you insult people. That's how you insult yourself. By insulting people. Being weird isn't even bad. In fact, thinking that someone is supposed to take this as an insult is actually wholly ignorant. It means that you don't actually understand the social structures or what weird even is. What is weird? You'll start describing different things that you think of as weird. No, what is weird? Yes, I'm going there. It's the same thing as what is normal. Weird is something that is not normal. But what is normal? Normal, according to the dictionary, every dictionary ever, is a social standard. And it changes depending on what group of people you're in. It is so entirely subjective that you could literally argue it doesn't even exist. It is literally a social concept. It does not exist outside of a social concept. There's nothing tangible about it. You can't prove what normal is. It is more of a abstract concept that is sort of accepted to be there to some extent, but that actually doesn't matter and is entirely based upon the thinking of a very small group of people who band together and like think a certain way. So there are actually, normal doesn't exist, and if you accept that the concept may or may not exist, then you also need to accept that normal for you is not normal for someone else. I'm sorry, but that's just the way that it works. Calling someone weird should never be something that you insult them with. All you're saying is that you don't fit my idea of social norms. Well, I'm glad, because frankly, you have shitty social norms. I really hope that she didn't watch that, because, yeah, that's my first thought about that. Like, because if you don't even understand what this is, I mean, if you understand what it is, you don't think that this is an insult. A lot of teenagers do this, though. And I'm thinking that this is probably a teenager. Probably someone too young to even, like, she just thinks that she knows all this shit. And doesn't. And I'm just like, sorry. But I'm not sorry. Oh, God. But seriously, if I pretend to summon Satan, if I pretend like I to summon Satan, they would probably either run or collect more hate to bring here. And I also would be worried about bringing hate upon actual Satanists through that. Oh, actual Satanists aren't worried about bringing hate on my group of people, because they've pretended to be us before. And that's actually why people of my religion and theirs don't often get along. Because if they're claiming to be us, we're getting pissed off about it. Because they're claiming to be us while not following our tenets. So we have rules that we follow. And shit doesn't actually work the way that Christians think that it does at all. Like, there's all sorts of stuff that they're told in church and shit. And I'm just like, no. And I actually know what they're told in church, so I can call them out on it. Because I used to be in the ministry. I know, right? I'm that person that you don't like to think about. Because I questioned things and decided my own way. And I've actually received a lot of flack in the past for this. That being said, I also did some things that were quote-unquote weird. Like, in high school, I let this girl I really wanted to be friends with think that I was crazy, because my grandmother found out that I was talking to her. So I started saying a bunch of things that were the truth, but they were said in such a way that they were meant to be taken completely different. And she actually almost figured it out, too. Damn it. But at the same time, I felt really bad for wanting her to, like, figure it out, after that. Like, whenever it looked like she was. Because she'd actually talked herself out of it right there. She was verbalizing it, and damn it. But at the same time, if she had figured it out, what would even be the point? Because I still had to avoid her, because if I didn't, someone was going to die or be hurt really, really bad and wish that they were dead. So I come from not only a family like that, but the worst kind of family like that. So I have no love of people like this. As far as I'm concerned, if you're going to wallow in ignorance, you can stay there, away from me, and everything that I love. Chris will pick his religious paths whenever he's older. He will learn about different stuff, so that he does not grow up to be wholly and completely ignorant. He will actually know what he's talking about, and not just hear some preacher say it and be like, yeah, the preacher says, so it must be true. You know how much bullshit comes out of there? They don't know what they're talking about. Were they talking about other religions? That's another thing. I don't want that trash on my channel anyway. Because then I have to deal with people who are going to be like, oh, they said that my pastor is wrong. They must be with the devil. I'm like, your devil doesn't even fucking exist. Even the Jewish people, their actual books that this is supposed to be based on are completely different in that respect. Like, this concept was literally just made up by a cult in the Roman. And, you know, they wanted something different other than the Hellenistic stuff. So they picked this up, warped it. And originally, in with the Romans and the Hellenistic stuff, it was your government. There was no separation of church and state. The church was the state, and at first it was not allowed because it wasn't just that Christians wanted to be separate and not respect the rest of the deities, that were being worshipped around that time. It's also their mindset of, if you're not with us, you're against us. I'm sorry. But this kind of makes you a hostile entity to literally everyone else. And coexisting with literally everyone else. Not everyone who believes in that stuff is like that, though. Gene is not. He is amazing. And, but he is also in the minority as far as that goes. A lot of these people, they quote fractured Bible verses. They don't even know what they mean. It's just, they don't even know what they mean. They don't understand the context that they're written in. They don't want to understand the context. They just want to cherry pick a verse, pick a meaning for it that is completely unconnected with what is actually there, and make what they want to be excused with a Bible verse. If you need a Bible verse to excuse your behavior, there's a problem with your behavior. The thing is, I don't need to excuse my behavior with my religion. Actually, that would have been considered a mistake by my religious stance. It's because I was commenting on someone who decided to make it a religious issue. And normally, unless someone has specifically, well, she did technically open up the door, but I know better. And I know how people like this think well enough to know better. So I still said something, knowing that this would make her hostile and ruffle some feathers. It doesn't really matter that I was incredibly cranky and just totally tired of it at that moment. I still did it. That's what I'm guilty of. I'm also guilty of not putting up with their shit when it comes down to it. I mean, if anything, I just don't want to make it worse, but I also don't want to deal with it. Just go away. It's a YouTube comment. If you feel like this ruins your life, then maybe you should just, I don't know, go meditate on it or something. I don't know. It's not, the world didn't end. And if you feel like it ended, maybe you need to look at yourself. Because it certainly has nothing to do with me. I didn't end the world, and if I said something that was that impactful for you, it's not impactful because it came out of my mouth, or because I said it, or because anybody else said it. It's impactful because there's something in you. So find out why and deal with it, because you can't have any sort of inner peace if you have that kind of crap, all twisted up in you. What? I like my inner peace. I don't have much of it because of all the grief and shit, but I have as much as I can get. I don't lie to myself. And that's another thing. My mom was right about that growing up. Never trust somebody who lies to themselves. Can't. Somebody who goes that far into denial about things. Look, if you can't acknowledge facts and believe in your religion, leave me the fuck out of it. You don't want to be considerate to everyone else? Fine. Don't start being shit to me because of it. I don't want you to follow my ass just because I pointed out that this is something that they wouldn't be doing for any other religion, that they hadn't done for any other religion, and that making this about the religion was, it was kind of, the intention was to basically say, why are you making this about religion? I could have worded it better. But they were making this about religion, and that's kind of shitty in of itself, because it wasn't even about religion. In fact, the song was not even blatantly naming any religion. You could literally worship to this song in any faith, because it doesn't name a deity. Isn't that great? But instead of going there, they were going, Christianity, 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 shut up. You know what you believe, and that's what's important. But if you're shouting it at the world like that, you're not looking at yourself. You're not seeing yourself. And that's a problem. Because you're supposed to be growing in yourself, not trying to make the world be Christian. And that's another thing. That's not even in the Bible. Nobody tells you to go make people Christian. Christians didn't even exist. They were being told to spread kindness. To spread these teachings of kindness, not convert people to a religion. They were, look at they were being told to spread a teaching, not a religion. There's a difference. There is actually a very big difference. The teachings are admirable. The way people use them is not.